Good evening. Tonight we have a special guest here. We have the intern police chief, I think. Tell me who you are.
Dennis, my name is Bob Pavelchik, and I hail from the Darien Police Department where I spent 33 years of my life.
Now, what is your title here?
Well, right now I'm the interim chief of police. I was contacted by the manager in January, asked if I would come here to Villa Park and help out.
Okay. Now, what is that? Is that something new that they have doing now, temporary chiefs or whatever they call them?
It's become very popular
Yeah.
for a lot of chiefs to put in their career and then get a chance to help another agency that might be looking for a chief or have some special issues that they might be able to help with.
You go through an association? Or how did the manager find you?
I asked him that very question. I'm not exactly sure. I know that the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, of which I am a member, has a linebacker program where they offer that service available. I hadn't signed up for that yet, though.
Okay.
And I think, through manager, just like police officers have their network of information, I'm sure that other elected officials and departments talk to other municipalities and look to see where they can find help where they can.
Okay. And what is your specialty that you got the job?
Well, I survived a police career, knock on wood. 33.
You're right back again, or what do you?
Well, when I retired end of May last year.
Okay.
And I've been teaching part-time at the College of DuPage and at Westwood College, and I enjoy teaching very much. And I was humbled that someone thought enough of me to come ask and see if I could help out. 9 years I spent as chief of police in Darien, and it was quite a learning experience.
Okay.
I learned a lot, and because the Village of Villa Park Police Department has such a wonderful reputation in the police world, I was very honored to come here and help out and meet the men and women.
Okay. When you were at COD, were you teaching the academy or not?
No, the academy's on the same floor. I see the academy staff every day, but I teach in the criminal justice program for the college students.
Fantastic. And what are you married?
No, I'm not. Not married.
What is this thing on your?
Well, that's my service pin. I wear very proudly. All three of my sons, Dennis, went in the Army out of high school.
Okay.
And in 2009, my two youngest boys were both deployed at the same time, had one in each desert. Currently, I've got one son left in the Army, and knock on wood, he'll be done the end of August, and he's going to college to be an airline pilot. I think.
Good for him.
So,
good for him.
very proud of those boys.
God bless all three of them.
Thank you. I'm
you.
very proud of all three of my
Yeah,
boys.
scary situation today. Or whatever.
Yes, it is. I'm glad he's coming home. I'll be
Okay.
very happy to get him home.
Then what is your background at Darien, outside of Darien? Would you do anything special with it? You get any
Well,
honors?
that's the long part of my life. I originally, got out of high school probably about the time you were getting involved in public service here in Villa Park, and I studied electrical engineering.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, got me a part-time job. A friend of mine offered me an opportunity to work as a police dispatcher in Woodridge back in 1975. Worked there for 3 years, and then I went to Darien in '78 and never looked back. It was a good career. I was very fortunate that in Darien the ordinances are a little different. The mayor actually called me in 2002 and asked me if I'd be the chief of police, and at that time I said yes, I would. And I was chief from 2002 to I retired just last year.
Well, you've been there 33 years, and 33 years in Darien. It's a growing community. How many were on the department then, and how many are on the department now?
Holy smokes! When I started in Darien, we used to run 2 cars a shift. When I left, we were running 5.
Okay.
Very comparable size of Villa Park. Community-wise, populations are in the low 20s, same as Darien. The police staffing is right around the same level, so comparable size of both communities. I find a lot of similarities in that.
What have you accomplished there that you want to bring to Villa Park?
Well, what I'd like to bring to Villa Park is what Villa Park wants me to bring to them. I've met with many of the members of the police department and asked them, what they'd like to see done and what opportunities they'd like to have. I'd like to follow up on things that were done by previous administrations, and if I can put my personal touch on a few things, I'd like to do that as well. We'll see how the summer goes with some of the festivals and things that you have going on here in the community, and look forward to that, actually.
We have a neighborhood watch group here.
Oh, very strong neighborhood watch group. It's funny to, and that the Villa Park successes with neighborhood watch is the good part of it. I think we're seeing down in Florida maybe something not so good when they got carried away, but I don't know how that's going to play out.
We don't know the whole story down there yet.
Yeah, we really don't.
We don't know
We
the whole
really
story.
don't. But when I saw the number of watch captains and the number of people that want to get involved and some of the email exchanges I've had with people that are really concerned about their community, want to be a part of the solution, That's great. I love to see that. That's the kind of community involvement that really makes you feel good about coming to work.
Well, Villa Park could do something, and we hope a lot of people get out there and do something to help the village. They all need the help. You need the help. You need people out there, not to carry guns, not to patrol the streets. Just go out and if you see something, drop a dime, call the cops.
Well, and that's what we need. Need to hold the community involved.
Yes.
We, the police department, are the community partners, and it's not up to us to control crime. It's up to you, our partners, to give us information, tell us what's going on, tell us what your needs are. Call 911 when you see suspicious activity, and we work together in that partnership, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of nothing too small. They come out and check it out. It's fine. They don't have nothing else to do. They sit home.
Oh, I got nothing else to do.
They sit around all day waiting for you to call. So call them, folks.
Have you got the coffee and donut stories you want to tell now, Dennis?
No.
I like my donuts on occasion.
Dunkin' Donuts. We got Dunkin' and Donuts Town just for you guys.
Dunkin' Donuts. It's the best. It's the best. You got a 30-year policeman doesn't like coffee. Not much of a policeman there. Gotta like your coffee.
No, I have a couple of kids. I know what they do.
Absolutely.
They work hard. They work hard. What do you think of our department as it is now?
Wonderful group of men and women here. Really work hard. Haven't learned all the names yet. Thank goodness policemen have their name tags on because it's a whole new climate. But policemen are the same in every community. They have the things that they like to do. They have a lot of pride in their work, and I see that here in Villa Park. I see a lot of great people, and I'm very fortunate and very humble to be associated with them.
The only thing bad about it is they're all much younger than I am today.
Well, I got to tell you, Dennis, I've said a long time, police work is a young man's game.
Oh, yes, it is.
You like that the old timers with that little touch of wisdom, but to be active, physically fit, aggressive in the community, it's certainly a young man and woman's game. Got some great staff members, both men and women here.
But we are working. The village of Villa Park is looking for some new ideas to come. They have problems in the area, some areas. What new ideas can we bring to the village?
Well, the first thing you want to do is identify what's been done right and wrong in the past.
Everything that we've done so far is right, but we need more help.
Well, then what do you need me for if everything's done right? Certainly the men and women that work in the field that have been here their whole careers are the ones that I look to give me information. So if I gather information from the community, from the elected officials, from the residents, from the staff members to say, hey, look, we've tried this once already. We haven't tried this. We've got this problem acting up. If the community continues to give us information, tell us what's going on in their neighborhoods, that's where we can design our response, because we want to be very proactive in our activities, not just waiting for something to happen. I'd rather have the community tell us, here's what we think is going on, here's the patterns we're seeing, develop that information, and from that move forward in something that's very proactive, not reactive.
Okay. Do you see, we have a bunch of old people in town. Sid Berg is out in the audience, and I'm here. And we don't want to hear 40 years ago, we did this and it didn't work.
No.
If it didn't work 40 years ago, it may work today. So we want to try anything that is going to help us.
Well, there are some traditions in police work that are good traditions. Yes. Good, aggressive patrol, being visible in the neighborhoods and the communities. But we're always constantly looking for those partnerships with the people to give us a call. Neighborhood Watch is a great one. Officer Kevin Connor, spearheads that effort for us.
He does a great job.
People give him information. He's got an emailing list that goes out that spreads information to the community, because if we have that information, you know what we see is important. You tell us what you see is important, and we can design our responses accordingly.
We have I don't think they call it DARE officers no more, but we have a high school officer.
We have an also, we do teach a DARE program in the grade schools and the
Yes,
junior high school, and Officer Connor teaches that. But we do have a detective assigned to the high school. Cordell Kitching is his name, and
he's not one shortcuts either, is he?
Oh no!
I look up to him and say, "Yes, sir."
you won't miss Cordell at all, because he certainly stands up. But what you really notice about him is the big smile he's got on his face. And once you get to know him, and I don't know him as well as a lot of people do, but he makes a great lasting first impression. That I'm here to help you and see what I can do. Seems like a good fit at the high school. The school certainly seems to be very appreciative to have him there.
And what is his job over the fishery now? What is his job at being in high school?
Well, he's assigned to detective, but his assignment is a high school liaison officer.
Okay.
He is the police department and the village's representative at the high school to help them with any concerns. And that school's in session, Dennis. That's like a small village over there with all the students.
Yeah.
And all the, the problems, the good and the bad problems that they bring with it. So to have him there as the police department's representative, village representative. It's just a great thing to have that relationship with the high school.
Yeah.
Plus the bond and the relationship he forms with the kids, because not everybody he runs into is a bad guy. You know, it's that positive impact of, here's a police officer willing to take the time out to talk to some of the students. You know, it's a great relationship. It's all about those relationships.
We're from the old school, and we say 98% of the kids in school are good, very good kids.
Sure.
And that 2% that we have to work with.
Well, you give them a little extra work, and you hope for the best.
Oh, yeah, that's all you can do. And these guys over at the school talking to them all day, they trust each other now. They can talk to each other.
You know the drill from your experiences in life. It's about the relationships. What good relationships do we have? Students, staff, faculty, district, village board. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, we got to get the community to get together. How do you do that now? You know, we talk about it, you can talk about it all you want, but how do you do it?
Well, it's a variety of different strategies. Number one, it's always about information. You know, you give the people information and convince them to get involved. If you show people how, you know, we're committed, how the officers, how the staff of the police department wants to be involved in their well-being, you know, it may take a little bit of time, but that message will come through, and people go back to taking pride in their neighborhood and, you know, feeling safe about their community and making the calls and furthering our partnership together. So that being said, it's about information sharing and letting everyone know we can help you. We are your partner. You do not have to stand alone with your problems. That's the police's job, to stand with you.
Okay. Backing up a little bit, I asked you before your background, were you at the FBI Academy?
I was fortunate enough to go to the 220th session of the FBI Academy, which, if I think back, was in 2004 or 5. I don't remember my exact dates. Yeah, it was after I became chief in Darien.
Yeah.
I had that opportunity, and it was a great experience. Met some wonderful people. Picked up on some of the best training that that academy has to offer. I know that I think Chief Payne before me went to the National Academy. Lieutenant Michael A. is a National Academy graduate. I know I've seen Chief Payne at a couple of the functions, and it's the first thing he said: anything you need help with, give me a call.
Yeah. What did you pick up at the FBI Academy that helped you today?
Well, the big thing that helps you today, or at least in the FBI Academy, besides some of the wonderful training, seminars on leadership. Actually was in a little better shape back then, too. You know, I did a little bit of running. But what you pick up a lot is relationships in law enforcement. You see, in law enforcement, whatever problems we run into here in Villa Park, you know, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's somebody out there that's had the same experience or the same problem.
Without a doubt.
I got a handful of people that I can reach out and say, here's what I'm experiencing, here's what's going on. And if he hasn't handled that problem, he'll know someone who has. So building that network of relationships where police executives get together and say, hey, look, I tried this, why don't you try that, or steer me in the right direction. That's what I got the most of out of the National Academy experience. And even to this day, going to the meetings, seeing police executives from all the communities, you know, in the state of Illinois, that's where you get the best information and figure out what can I do better for the community that someone else is doing. And to finish that one, in these trying times of the economy.
You talk funny too.
Yeah. Well, when you start talking about money, you get a little tongue twisted a little bit. But in the trying times of the economy, when money is tight and municipal departments are asked to do so much more with so much less, you need to get a little bit creative and look around to see what kind of strategies you can come up with. And you turn to the people that you know in the business, who you've met through the National Academy, through the DuPage County Chiefs, through the Illinois Chiefs. All these associations are about sharing information.
Yeah. You know, for years and years, we try to tell the people we got to bring private industry into the public scene, and it's it doesn't work. Well, it does work because the networking's been going on for years in private. Now it's coming over here, and you're using the networking through the FBI Academy. You're using networking through the association, the police chiefs.
Dennis, I had a chance to go back to school early in my career. And when my sons were little, I went back to school because I knew they were going to get big someday. And I got my bachelor's degree in business and economics because it dawned upon me at the time, municipal government is a business. It's a government business. It's run with tax dollars, and you need to be responsible to the stakeholders, which is a lot of times the taxpayers of the community. And after I did that, I got a better appreciation about where money comes in from, where money goes out to, how to handle your personnel issues, how to do strategic planning on down the road. So I'd like to think that when we get through this first budget, which I know the village board has been talking about, it's a very tight and very balanced budget, look on down the road to see how you sustain the services that you want to bring to the community.
What budget are you going to cut now? What are you going to cut on your budget?
I don't know what more we can cut. I mean, driving,
The people don't understand that. You have to, if you cut the whole budget out, you don't need you guys. Who's going to protect them?
Well, and that's the issue. Everything in government is about service.
That's right.
And what level of service do you want to provide, and what level of service is the community willing to pay for? So I can tell them, you say, well, this is what you need to do to protect the community, but if you tell me there's less money than that, then I'll have to tell you what service you're going to get for that price. Yes, sir.
And you have to do it. Why would you want to come to Villa Park? You been here how long now?
3 months.
What did you do so far? Did you cut the crime down?
I don't know. I don't know that I would know how to cut the crime down. I stopped being a policeman a long time ago. The higher you go in a police organization, the less real police work that you do. But what I can say is I'm very inspired by the men and women that you have working here, because they come to work every day, they go out and they work hard, and they put the smile on their faces, and they're very proud. And a few of them have stopped me and said, I'm very proud to wear this uniform. And I said, well, I'm glad to be here with you.
Oh, yeah. They're there when you need them. And that's the only time you've ever had to call the police. When you need them, you're in trouble, because you should be talking to them all the time.
Well, I lecture in some of my classes, and I say, the police are either your best friends or your worst enemies. You either love us. Nobody's ambivalent about the police. You either love us or you hate us.
Nope.
And you hate us because we're telling you because you got arrested or you got a ticket and you didn't like it, or you love us because we did something good for you. But that's kind of the way I look at it.
Well, see, the firemen are just the opposite. They're always good guys. When you need help, they're there.
Well, and that's what they're supposed to do, and that's what they train for. I can't say anything bad about the fire department. No. Well, I could, but it wouldn't do any good.
So what else you want to talk about?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about? How's your golf game? You play golf?
Yeah, I got a big handicap.
I was very happy to see that the village owned a golf course. I'm going to have to get down there and stake that place out in case there's any trouble over there.
Very good. I think you should.
I'll be down there.
We got somebody in the audience got a question for you out here.
Sure.
Turn the microphone around.
Bob, it's a pleasure to welcome you to my village, even though you're almost an old timer now.
Thank you, Sid.
Dennis Mitch, we've had a very successful Citizens Police Academy going on. Would you continue that?
Oh, absolutely. Those are the kind of community partnerships that every police department and village, recognizes are good. Now, even in these tough economic times, we've combined a couple of things. We do Citizens Police Academy and the Citizens Emergency Response Team, the CERT team, and we're getting them together to do some training. And we were fortunate enough to get a grant from the railroad to help fund some of that training. So those kind of partnerships and relationships are exactly what we need to do to encourage more people to get involved in their community and to involve the police department in things going on in their lives. Plus, it gives the police officers a chance to show off a little bit of what they're good at and what they have a passion for, and to show the community, this is why I love being a policeman.
Well, Bob, I had the privilege of being in the Citizens Police Academy and the search program, both.
There we go. Then I don't have to tell you anything about it.
And of course, a previous chief was a very good friend of mine. And in fact, when he was a patrolman, we did things. And when he was a sergeant, I rode with him. But it gives you an opinion, a different perspective, and I wish everybody could see more of what a policeman's life is like, especially you're the first line of defense.
Absolutely.
And I remember being in one spot where, right in our own town, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't have any idea of what it was. There was a business was left unattended. And, of course, it turned out that it was completely legitimate and it was not a robbery, but the policeman didn't know that when he walked in. And you don't know what you're going to hit. Secondly, I'm preaching. I shouldn't be saying that.
No, not at all.
But would you be in a position, would you want to be a permanent chief here?
Very much I'd like to stay here. Very much I would. This is a wonderful community. The police department has a wonderful reputation. I'm very, very happy for the opportunity to be associated with the Villa Park Police Department and the village. I would love to stay.
What a beautiful commitment. That's great. It's a pleasure to have you. Dennis has covered everything that I wanted to say, all the questions I had in the back
one
of
of
my
the things that
mind.
Sid brought up was very interesting. Grant. You get a grant from the railroad. How do you go about getting grant money? People don't understand where the money comes from sometimes. That doesn't offer your tax money. It's coming from all over.
Yeah, grants come in a variety of different forums. Sometimes from private industry, sometimes from the government. We recently applied for a Department of Justice grant to help hire police officers. We've applied for that. We've applied for it in the past, and we're hoping we can look for something with that. But because the railroad, the Union Pacific, runs through town, the Union Pacific, in part of their training and part of their corporate mission, gets involved in their local communities with donations and grants to say, what can we do? Again, another partnership to help you, our communities, because at some point we're going to need them, they're going to need us, and it's good to have those relationships. And they do it through grants to help with citizens.
Well, who gets the grant through you? Who you have the department working with?
They have a Lieutenant Bregman is our grant guy, and it's a thankless paperwork job. But Mark does a wonderful job with it, applying and researching and looking for places that we can form more partnerships. And perhaps if they've got some donations they'd like to give, we'd be more than happy to take. Would you like to donate for a grant too?
Sure, anytime. Anytime.
Okay.
Just call my wife.
Okay.
Here we got another question from another person out here in the audience.
And your name is, sir?
My name is Al Stesh. I live here in Villa Park, 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA.
Okay.
I've heard you say that.
You heard me say that. Okay, you got me.
Chief, on a serious note, recently there's been a couple of Nixle alerts for our kids in schools on our streets where they have been approached. And there's been some Nixle messages sent out. First of all, your comment about the Nixle service, I want you to tell us about how good that is. And some advice to our parents and children in the community until this gets resolved.
Absolutely. Thanks, Al. Yeah, the Nixle service, a great service for really, in this day of information technology, to put information out there to the community as quick as you can is a valuable tool for the police department in the village. That being said, these reports come up from time to time. We investigate all of them very seriously. We're constantly looking for more information. And sometimes it's a little reminder and a wake-up call for some members of the community that maybe we've gotten our guard down a little bit, maybe we've gotten a little too comfortable. Not that we need to be afraid of anything, but we certainly need to be aware of our surroundings and what's going on. As I mentioned to Dennis, I teach at the College of DuPage, and I see so many of these college students and other people, earbuds in their ears, listening to music, talking on the phone, and totally unaware of their surroundings.
Right.
And in this day and age, in every community in the country, you've got to be more aware of what's going on around you. And Villa Park's no different. It's the same in all our neighboring communities, too. So we like to alert the parents and say, folks, time to have that safety talk with your kids. Time to have them less focused on their electronics and more of their head on a swivel so they can see what's going on.
Right, right. And I know, in fact, Nixle was used to send out, I think, Detective Sergeant Dan McCann, I believe, sent out a whole list of things that people should be aware of related to these potential problems with our kids.
Absolutely, and a lot of it's common sense 101.
Right.
And like I say, not that anyone wasn't thinking that way, but sometimes we get a little too comfortable and we need a wake-up call to remind us, let's pay attention to what's going on.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think the simple questions like this is what the people want to know. They really do want to help.
Well,
They want to help you, and they want help to come back to them.
And many people, sometimes are afraid to ask. It's as simple as making that phone call and.
It's not that important to call a cop.
Oh no!
Don't call the station, folks. You won't get no response over there. You call 911.
You need a police officer in your neighborhood, even if it's not an emergency. If you need an immediate police response to something going on, dial that 911 because that's the fastest way. If you call the desk and you get put into someone's voicemail, I have to tell you, Dennis, a couple weeks ago I came in on a Monday and I had 2 voicemails from Friday evening, people calling to report things on my voicemail. I didn't get them, folks. I'm sorry. You got to call 911, have that officer come out. If there are more priority calls going on when someone would call. Say, for example, there's a dog loose in the neighborhood that's nipping at the kids or something. That's important. But if there's somebody's an ambulance call and they need medical assistance, that might be higher. The dispatchers are trained to make that priority
Yeah.
call, but still 911 is the way to go.
Oh, yeah, because people call it, they took me 10 minutes to get out. So what? They came. That's what you're there for.
It's a matter of prioritizing.
Just like going to the hospital. If you get a heart attack, or you're going to sit if you only got a cut and somebody else has got a heart
Correct.
attack.
That's-
And that's just what's happened. You know, the police department does want your help, folks. You know, they need it. They need it now more than ever before. He says nobody's in the station answering the phone. 911 is always there. Call 911. You know, you call trustees or you call your private phone. You never get help right away. So
And this is no different than any other community I've been in. It happens everywhere
happens all
else.
over.
Happened with me in my previous life,
Yeah.
and sometimes I just nod my head and say, "You really need to call 911 with that." So the way it works.
Sid Burke asked you a question. Do you want the permanent job? I hope you get the permanent job. I hope you stay on here. But I don't know what the situation is with the board here yet.
Well, that's
So,
certainly
yeah.
in tough economic times, looking at the fiscal part of everything. I don't envy the elected officials. They got a lot of hard work to do. Got multiple departments looking for funds. The citizens want service, but they don't want to be taxed too heavily. So all those things in the balancing act, I'd like to see what I could do to lend my hand in whatever way I can.
And people don't understand it. This board has got to go well. This board is 60% of the people on this board is one term, first term. Most of them don't make the second term. There's only 2 or 3 of them on here, second term right now. They just don't come back. It's a hard job up here, folks.
Very hard job being a volunteer in a municipal government, and my hat's off to the people that try.
Yeah.
The same too with the volunteers that run the cable network.
Well, yeah, we get paid big, folks.
Oh, big.
We're going to get double next year. But no, all we're here to do is inform people, talk to people, and get an education ourselves. And we hope you hang around for a long time.
Well, I've enjoyed very much my first 3 months here. I'm looking forward to being here much longer. And again, every day I meet somebody new, and they tell me some interesting story about the village. So I'm really
God.
starting to feel comfortable.
It's a wonderful village.
I think so, too.
It's been great to all of us, and we're very happy with it. That's why we hang around.
Well, you've been here all year,
I've
for a while.
been up here 40 years next year.
Well,
I don't know.
and another 40 years to you.
God, yes. Oh, yeah.
That's the way it should be.
The man upstairs don't want me. He says no. So I'll give you about 1 minute to tell me what else you want to tell me about, then I'm going to cut you off.
Well, I'm very fortunate to have been asked to lead and work for the Villa Park Police Department, but I'm just one man. It's the men and women that are in the field. The heart and soul, the backbone of every police department are the men and women in uniform, driving those black and white squad cars through the neighborhoods and stopping to visit with the people and handling the calls for service. And when they take pride in their community, when they want to be involved, when they sense that the community involves them and shares things with them and gets us, the police, involved in their problem solving, that's very rewarding at the end of the day.
It sure is.
Because very seldom, not very seldom, but often the call to the police is about some criminal activity, but a lot of times it's about something much less. It's about a quality of life, about something going on in the neighborhood. Those kids are playing their music too loud, or that dog keeps running around the neighborhood. Things that bother people, that don't make them comfortable, don't make them happy where they're living. And before those things fester and become problems in the neighborhood, a lot of times the police get called to help intervene, to help, sometimes they say, put on the referee's shirt and try and work things out a little bit.
Separate them.
But we certainly recognize that our involvement is about quality of life issues a lot of times. So we'd like to be there and help as best we can. And again, I'm blessed to work with a lot of great men and women here.
Well, you've been around 33 years in the department, Darien, here. You find out there used to be a community. People together, they'd have a problem, they'd go knock on the door and say, hey, let's sit down and talk. They don't do that today.
A lot of times they either leave it go or they get mad or, they go online and start writing things. And, you want to go up and talk to someone and say you have a problem with them. That's a lot of face-to-face. It's kind of a lost art, maybe.
It is a lot of time. You either take it or you don't know what they
Yeah. And sometimes they have to call the police to say, well, why don't you go talk to my neighbor? And sometimes we want to ask them, well, why don't you go talk to your neighbor? He won't bite. And if he does, then I'll take care of it.
Yeah,
But that's a little bit about problem solving, and certainly we get involved in a lot of that, and sometimes for the good, sometimes not for the good, but it's part of the life in the community, trying to solve and help the other people solve their problems.
Very good.
So,
But I want to thank you for coming tonight.
Oh, my pleasure,
And
Dennis.
I
My
want you to tell all
pleasure.
the boys over there to be nice to me from now on. Don't pick
Oh, and you got picked on the last time when?
on me. I don't know.
You can't remember. Okay, then
But
you're.
thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Dennis.
Just,